Okay, Saturday, June 3rd, 2023. Just getting back from the gym. It feels good. So lately I've been studying for my project manager exam, PMP exam, and it's for the last 2 or 3 weeks. I wanted to do it in like less than a month, get it knocked out. And I think I said in the last video, it's like being back in college, just pumping and dumping a lot of information. It's like studying, I would say the closest thing is like studying macro or microeconomics. It's not hard, but there's a lot of nitty gritty things you need to remember, because it's a what should I say? It's a scenario based exam. They give you situations, and then you have to find the wrong answers and then choose the right one. So it's not calculus, and it's not anything like math heavy, where you have to set up formulas and you got a limited amount of time and you got to dissect the problem and, write some assumptions. Everything is in the problem, so I'm going to now go through some practice exams. I've already done a few of them, and my scores are between 70 and 80, and when I redo them the next time around, they're 90, but I don't know if that counts, because if I'm remembering the old exam or if I actually learned something. So it's hard to know, but I am studying my mistakes. So hopefully some of that sticks when the real thing comes on. My guess is, like, from what I'm reading in the forums and everything, some people are, running out of time with like 30 questions out of 180 to go. So I imagine you need like around 60% to pass this thing. They don't tell you what the score is. It's like the GMAT or something. It's an adaptive exam. So I think if you do more easy questions or fewer hard questions, right, they have some scoring matrix there. So yeah, that was just it gives you some more cred, when you're trying to bid for bigger projects and what have you, that you have this. It seems to be a thing lately. But if you're I think if you're thinking the right way about things, if you've worked in any kind of corporate job and followed any kind of agile process, or worked in any kind of software development, I think this is quite doable. This is like a very doable exam. So let me just see. I have to see if there's some spinach over there. No, they don't have any spinach. It's Ukraine. People are just open up their van and set up a shop. This is the free enterprise. That's what I'm telling everyone. It's time for you to move to Ukraine. If you're American and you love your freedom and you have some principles about sticking up for your allies and sticking up for your principles, it's time to move over here and spend your money here, bring your culture here, and we can keep everything going while the war is going on. And when the war is over, we can rebuild this place. We can rebuild them for European Union, NATO, America. I would prefer to see them become a U.S. state than a member of the EU, personally. Ukraine could be like Texas too, It'd be another state like Texas, like very loose on the rules and, pretty liberal on gun ownership. They gave away 10,000 guns on the first days of the war without any accountability. So they're just going to have to, you're going to have to live with it. It's a frontier, So if you are nostalgic for American history and everything, this is where you should be. See, this is some more art there, graffiti on the doors. Yeah, and then this is a brand new building across the street. So it's a lot of contrast. Yeah. Anyway, that was a sidetrack. So yeah, this PMP exam. So there's like a few titans in this space, or a few heavyweights in this space. So there's this guy, David McLachlan. He's an Australian guy. He goes through these video problems. He has all these like question banks he works through. I think that's been incredibly helpful, because he explains everything in detail and like what's the wrong answer, why is it wrong. So I think that's worthwhile. I think all three of them, he's got 3 sets, like the book 750, Agile 200, and Waterfall 100. The Agile one is pretty easy if you've worked in Agile, but the other ones you'll learn something, I can tell you. I got like around 70% on those other two. And I thought I knew a lot about project management, but it's I guess putting it all together under pressure. You get about a minute and 15 seconds a question, so that's what makes it hard. You've got to comprehend quickly what's going on, and then you got to quickly rule out the wrong answers, and then hone in on a right answer. And usually the last two are pretty close, but one is kind of like, I noticed the last two answers, one that kind of has you being like taking charge and doing action, like documenting something and then take action afterwards. That's kind of the right answer. And there is some vocabulary. You got to know your like stuff. You can't just like use test taking skills. I mean, you do have to actually study. So there is going to be some like two different documents you got to understand, and what does what. And the hardest one to differentiate is between the stakeholder engagement plan and the communication plan. So one tells you how to deal with the people, and the other one tells you how to talk to the people. It's like two different things. They sound similar. Like one of them is like, okay, you got to watch this guy closely and everything, but then the other one tells you how to send the message to him. So it's like splitting hairs. But I guess like I said, you probably only need to get around. This is just my estimation, around 65% of these things. So if you have 65-70% knowledge. So just try to know the big stuff, know how to take your test taking, learn how to find the wrong answers. I don't know. I'll let you know Thursday how this went. And, but I'm just estimating it's like that. I've taken a lot of these certificate exams before, and there is a way to take it. And I kind of have a beef with it, because there are people who are genuinely studying hard and they're not passing. And I think a lot of it has to do too that English is not their native language. And if they're taking the English-based exam, they're using things like, I don't know. I noticed in the practice test they're using some words that probably might not be so intuitive to non-native speakers, so they're, not able to read as fast as a native speaker. But I think way certifications should be done is like what we did in the Sears company a long time ago with Six Sigma. We had a week-long course. We had to do a bunch of exercises. There was a teacher. You were sitting in a group. You were doing exercises. You were giving presentations. So you were being evaluated by your peers, by your teachers. And then there was like written tests throughout, so there was a little bit of this cramming going on, but there was more learning. And if you were in the class and you were participating, the tests weren't so bad. They didn't make it so tricky and so bad. They were just trying to make sure you comprehended the general ideas, because that's what you're going to be doing in the real world. You're going to be referring to past practices and trying to keep up with things and applying, things for a specific situation. But I think that's how it should be. It probably will be more costly. I mean, for sure, these institutes that administrate these exams probably won't make as much money. I mean, yes, the individual exams will cost more, but less people will be able to take it, so, and they would probably have to invest more to fly out instructors and set this up. But that would be a more true way to know that this person really is qualified, because I can tell you, like, anybody can pass this exam, if they have this pump and dump skills like you learn in high school. I mean, I don't know how many exams in school that I just memorized a bunch of stuff and then took the test, and then a day later I couldn't recall anything. It's just like it's like temporary memory or something, like a temp table in SQL or something like that. It's just gone. And I don't know if that's the kind of people you want leading, that are just very, focused on one specific thing. Because, to study for this, you focus really hard, you block everything out around you. You can't really multitask. I mean, I let a lot of chores and things at home slide in the process of studying. And I don't know, this is not the right way, I think, to measure or certify people. I think it has to be done kind of the hard way, and maybe companies would have this as part of their onboarding process, so you would get this when you're in a company. So these institutes would work with companies, or they would have these like seminars in different cities, and you would apply. And yeah, it's going to be costly. It's going to be like $1,500, $2,000, maybe even more. I know the ones for these Agile release train engineers, they have a class in Chicago, and it's like $2,500 for the week. But you're there with like real people, you're doing real exercises, you're doing case studies, you get to mingle, with people from other companies. and they're all giving their ideas, like, how they've done things, because these people are all from industry, having industry experience. So the Institute doesn't become this like the Vatican, just pontificating, but they're also taking back information in these seminars. And I think that would be a better way to certify knowledge, than what I'm doing. I mean, in all honesty, you can really just buy your way through these exams, right? I mean, you can take some really great courses, you can, online, and then the instructor will, I guess, make themselves available if you pay extra. And then they have the PMI has this study hall thing, where you pay money, and then you pay money for practice exams, and and then you learn just these techniques, how to eliminate wrong answers. Like I said, what kind of person, a person who can do all this in 2 weeks and hasn't had any industry experience or very little, what is this diploma representing? Yes, it represents that they may have invested some time to study this, and they have like a topical knowledge. It represents that they're interested in the field, that they took trouble to do this. So it's interesting for them that this is what they want to do. That's, I think, a lot of what this certification is like to demonstrate interest for a job or for an employer, that you made an investment and took time out of your schedule to do this. But to me, it also demonstrates like it's a personality type who can do this, and I'm that personality type. Just to block everything out around you, become aloof. So it's I don't know. I don't know. It's like yes, the test taking measures probably that this person is a fast thinker, can work under pressure, and manage to process a lot of information in this amount of time. I think that's what it's measuring too, maybe. It's a form of intelligence, I guess, that you're given a whole bunch of data, and you can quickly turn it into something useful and make a decision from it. So you can intake all this data, process this data, analyze it, I should say, I guess. You analyze it, and then you make decisions from it. Maybe that's what they're trying to measure here. Not so much that project management, but that you can digest information, analyze it, and make decisions from it quickly. But that's kind of like a different skill than truly, because sometimes when you're doing a project and you don't want to be in a hurry, you need to take your time. I mean, there's been a lot of examples when projects were done in a hurry. I mean, it's in the software industry all the time. Things have to be reworked. Things have to be redone. And in construction, it's even worse because they do things wrong. You have to tear stuff down and redo it. If they missed a building code or something, and then they have to tear out all this electrical or all this plumbing or do some rework. And I mean, this happened in the Boeing 777 program, the 777. I think in the 737 MAX, they took some shortcuts. So it's maybe creating some behaviors too. So there's a balance that has to be striked, but maybe they should just be more honest about it. I think the best test to measure this speed thinking is the Wonderlic test. It's what the NFL gives prospective players. It's 50 questions in 12 minutes, and the goal is to get, like, the quarterbacks get around 30. Because this measures that how quick your brain can take in the information, analyze it, and then make a decision. That's what a quarterback is doing. In a matter of like a few seconds, they've got to start the play, look around, and launch the ball, and the other guy's got to catch it or he's on his back. But then have a test for that and say that's what it is. And then, like, if you need to learn project management skills and everything, because that's kind of more of a hard work thing. That's kind of being almost like a bureaucrat, that you're keeping all these documents straight, you're keeping the process going, organized. It's like a persistence job. It's not a job like Tom Brady has, being a quarterback. So it's like a job where you're just doing a grind. You're setting up things and you're managing things, keeping things updated, getting meetings going, playing a shrink for the company. Dealing with people, especially programmers, dealing with all those personalities, and a lot of them are just real childish, and then dealing with these managers and stuff who are just so money driven, and they are like single metric driven as well. I suppose this works. American industry is doing really well, but it used to do better, I think. It used to do better. They built the 747 before all of this, focus on certifications. People used to learn in-house. They built the Nautilus submarine, back in the 50s. That's one of the most undertold stories of engineering. Or the USS Enterprise, the first nuclear carrier, was built in the 60s, and they had like 12 reactors. And then they learned from that and built the Nimitz, which only had 2 reactors, and I think now they just got a new class of carrier, the Ford class, but everything else was kind of built on the Nimitz platform, all the carriers after that. So, the Navy, the military, they have their own, management techniques and everything, and a lot of this stuff evolves in-house. So, but anyway, that's my rant about PMP exam. I will tell you how it goes on Thursday. I'll be very surprised, if I can do another video between now and then, because I am pretty hyper focused on this. I've kind of set a lot of stuff aside just to knock this out, because I was reading stories. People are spending 3-4 months on this. I've got like 3 weeks, and then I've got stuff to do. I can't like have anxiety or whatever that I study a little bit is just going to, and then you forget, and you got to study it again and you forget. Already over the course of 3 weeks it's happened. I studied some stuff and then you forget it. So I guess you just learn it by repetition or something. It'd be better if you can do it like in a week-long course, you stay in a nice hotel and you go to classes, and then you have lunch with all the other people and with the instructors, and you go out at night for some social stuff, and that's how I used to do in the good old days, before online teaching, and you really actually do learn something. I remember the Six Sigma stuff I learned, it still sticks with me till this day. When I took that course at the Sears Corporation in Chicago, and they brought in these consultants who all used to work for General Electric, under the Jack Welch Six Sigma program, and they taught all this to us, and we were building catapults. We actually built like catapults and had to calculate the weight and the angle. They were teaching us how to develop a function, which, we already know if you're an engineer, but there were a lot of people who were like line managers, and we had to work with them to teach them how all this stuff worked. And again, you're building your network, you're learning your social skills. It was cool, and it still sticks till this day. But, like my Microsoft certified system engineer, which I crammed, I don't remember a damn thing, how to do IP address calculations or any of that. I just crammed all that and pumped and dumped it and took that at a testing center. And I took those courses online back in the 90s. They had like, you get CD-ROMs, I guess, and you would just go through the CDs and do a bunch of practice questions, and then you go to the test center, take the test. And I remember doing that thing in quick order, and that landed me a pretty good job. I got the job at the Sears Corporation, but I went in with the tech certification, and quickly I got into project management. I like jumped over like within 2 months or 3 months onto the management side. So that's learning has to be hard. Learning has to be in person. It should be interactive. It should be social. There's a lot of osmotic communication that takes place, through osmosis, through indirect communication, body language and stuff like this. I think that's being missed in this modern world. So maybe we'll see a trend where things roll back. We'll see things go back a little bit, and they're more of a human touch, because we're human after all. We're not microchips. But anyway, take care, and we'll see you next time.